So let's start off,
Thank you, sir.
with the presentation. So if it's convenient, please do keep your video on all through the meeting. Otherwise, it's okay, but it'll be more interactive. That's the idea. Okay, so the purpose of
Yeah.
BGSM is to ensure that we are continuously challenging each other to keep growing our businesses because growth is mandatory. So we keep discussing on various ideas, uh, educating each other, discussing with each other. So that's the purpose behind BGSM. And we focus on the pathfinder stage of business. That is someone who has already started the business, someone who has already set the base framework, and he's looking for growth. He's looking for a path for growth. So that is the stage that we focus on. And we started this about 5 to 6 years back when few friends from BNI we started asking questions to each other, and we found that it was very helpful, and it helped us in growing our business. So that's how it started, and now of course it's open for everyone. We have a community where you can register yourself, and you can search for other members also, called bacommunity.me, that is business automation community.me. And we also have a tool where you can track your goals, and you can just use it as a coaching tool so that you can improve with that. We have a WhatsApp group where you can share your businesses. You can ask for referrals and give referrals, so that's something that you can do. And today's topic is, what are the best practices for strategic planning in leadership? Okay, so first thing is,
Mhm.
some of us would have definitely heard, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Okay, so the meaning behind that is, if at all we have a strategy, and if we want that strategy to succeed, something that comes before strategy is the culture. Okay, culture of the organization. So that is the basic groundwork required to ensure that whatever strategy that we have will succeed. Now, recently there are two more things added. That is, execution eats culture for lunch. That is, you may have a good strategy and you may also have a good culture, but if you do not have a proper execution, then even the culture also is not going to help. And then another thing that got added recently was, leadership eats execution for dinner. So what that basically means is, ultimately everything, including strategy, including culture, including execution, everything boils down to the leadership of the organization. So that is what it all means. So primary focus of leadership should be towards strategy through execution and culture. So I thought, before getting into best practices of strategic planning, I thought I'll set a base on what is strategy and what is the importance of strategy, and then get into the best practices. So first basic thing is, we need to understand strategy is different from execution. Okay, and obviously we know that, but still I thought, let's start off with that. Strategy is long-term plan to succeed. A sound strategy ensures success and profitability of an organization. Strategic planning is crucial at the start of an organization and requires regular review and course correction too. Okay, now comes the best practices. Okay, what are the best practices for strategic planning? The first one is, so a few things that I can suggest, and of course later on you all can also suggest certain things. So first one is, start the organization with a strategic plan. Okay, one of the mistakes that many organizations do is, they start the organization because they are good at something, they like doing something, or they have already worked somewhere and they have a skill with them, so they have one customer, so they'll just start off with that, and they'll have a plan that, okay, eventually I will keep getting more customers. But it's very few businesses who actually create a strategic plan or even a complete business plan, laying out everything that needs to be done, and then starting the business. Very few businesses do that. So the first thing in among the best practices for strategic planning is, start the business itself with a strategic plan. Simulation of complete variables at the start. So right at the start itself, the business owner or the entrepreneur is jotting out the entire plan, including all the variables, like the vendors, customers, team members, maybe various approving authorities, or whatever is required. You create a complete plan for the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, even up to the extent of 10 years sometime, and then you start the business. Now that's the right way to start. Of course, you may think, how would I know what would happen after 1 or 2 years? That's of course correct. That is where adaptability and resilience and all that comes. But without having a plan, a strategic plan, when we start a business, it usually ends up in firefighting and usually ends up in we react to various things rather than proactively trying to grow the organization. So that's the first best practice. Second one is block calendar regularly, at least once in a week. Okay, to review progress in comparison with strategy, appointment with self. Now, this is another most important aspect that many entrepreneurs and business leaders, especially of small organizations, do not do. That is, at least some of us are having a habit of blocking our calendars. And most of the time, these calendars are either blocked for customer meeting or for internal meeting. Okay. We usually do not have a habit of blocking the calendar for ourselves. That is, I am having an appointment with me as a leader to review the strategy of the organization and with respect to the execution. Okay, so that is something that is very very crucial that we are supposed to be doing on a regular basis. Yeah, at least once a week, block your calendar for with yourself for strategic review and course correction. Then course correct when needed quarterly or yearly with new strategic plan. So this is what I was saying. Sometimes we may wonder that if I am planning for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and all that, how is it going to be exactly like that? The answer is it will very rarely be exactly the way we plan. There will always be a course correction requirement or something that will some variables that we have never considered that will come up later on, and for that we have to course correct the organization every now and then, and that is what we have to do once a quarter or yearly. We have to keep reviewing it, and based on the changes in circumstances we'll have to keep course correcting our strategy. And organize leadership team retreat at least once a year for strategy versus actual review. Now, some companies have going out, either a full day, to a close by resort or maybe an overnight stay, and have fun with the team because it's a good recreational activity. It's a team building activity. But one of the aspects which is also crucial for an organization, especially a growing organization, is to have a strategic review team retreat. That is where the leadership team gets together at least 1 or 2 days, uh, some other place, away from the office, and only discusses on the strategy that this is what we had planned, but however this is the execution, or this is what is going right, this is what is going wrong, so what can we do to change the strategy or modify the strategy. So that is something that has to be done at least once a year so that the organization continues to keep growing. Then finally, of course, as we said already, everything boils down to leadership. So few things that are very crucial as best practices is leaders are readers. So as leaders, it's our responsibility to ensure that we have to keep reading and learning, because that's the only way we will be able to contribute to the strategic planning. Okay. Yeah, Javastin, I'll try to give some strategic planning. Okay. And leader to get mentors. So if you feel that you are stuck somewhere and you're not able to, you know, no matter how much you read or what decisions you're taking, it doesn't seem to be working. So a mentor can help. And if the organization also needs a consultant, you can even get an external consultant if you feel that you're again stuck as the organization is growing and you do not know which area to go. So an external consultant. So why these external influence is important is because usually when we run our business, we tend to go too deep into the business, and we forget being on top of the business. As leaders, though it is recommended, we need to be on top of the business and we need to view how the business is going, but usually we get sucked into whatever is happening on a day-to-day basis, and we miss out on how to run the business, how to course correct the business. So mentors and consultants can come and then point out certain things which we are blinded, we ourselves don't see. Okay. So that's the contribution from me. Now to give an example of a strategic planning. Okay. I will give one example from the book Scaling Up. Okay. And I'll give an example, something that we follow. Okay, in Rejola. So one example of strategic planning that was done according to in the book Scaling Up, it was done by a garbage cleaning company. Okay, a company that cleans garbages from home. You know, you have this municipality vehicles coming and taking garbages and going. Okay, so this company in the US, they had a challenge of recruiting people. They were not able to recruit people because they were not getting the right people. Okay, so they took a strategic decision after doing some kind of a giving some kind of thought into it. They took a strategic decision that instead of just telling that the opening is meant for or the position is meant for someone who collects garbage and puts it into the vehicle, instead of advertising like that, they took a decision that they will reach out to the fitness centers in the city. Okay, various gyms, okay, and fitness centers. Okay, and they reached out to these fitness centers and gyms with a message that why don't you get paid while you are continuing your fitness, okay, or something like that. So these guys who were fitness freaks in certain gyms, who were building their body and they were lifting heavy weights and all that, the company just passed this message that why don't you just continue your fitness activity and get paid for it. So the concept is come and do this fitness activity, lifting the buckets and putting it and heavy weights and all that, and you get paid for it at the end of the day. So it worked for them, and they were able to recruit the right people because you need to be strong when you're handling these heavy items. So that's a strategy that they followed. It's a strategic decision that they took. So instead of just putting ads saying that we need people collecting garbages, they decided that, hey, let's not put ads anymore. Let's go to these 10 or 20 fitness centers that are there and give a very specific message only to these fitness centers. There may be about 100 or 200 people who are coming here. Out of 100 and 200, we just need 10. And that strategic decision, it worked for them. Okay, I'll give you one more example. See, like in our case, one of the strategic decisions that we took is we will monitor only a team member's profitability. Okay, so what that means is, like if one of our team members is getting a salary of 50,000 rupees, okay, for example, we will only look at that team member's profitability in the organization. Whether that team member who is getting a salary of 50,000 rupees is capable of producing a result of some 1x or 2x, I mean 2x or 3x or 4x. And that is all that we will see. So if we have 20 people working for us or 200 people working for us, we will evaluate at the end of the day if each and every team member is profitable or not. Okay, now that's a strategy that we adopted. And what happens because of that is, if every team member is profitable, that is, they have projects and they are also producing results which is 2x or 4x or 5x or whatever, the whole organization is profitable because of that. Okay, so we took a decision, a strategic decision, that this is how we are going to monitor the profitability. Another advantage of doing that is, if we notice that some team members are not profitable, that is, the results that they are producing is less than their remuneration continuously for more than 1 or 2 months or 3 months, even after reviews and even after giving them support and giving them maybe a training or giving them time off to prepare and come back, even if things are not improving, that means there is something wrong over there. Okay, so we either tell them, okay, you need to take a break, learn and come back, or we request them to leave or maybe take up another role. Maybe this role is not suitable for you, why don't you take up another role? So this is a strategic decision that we have taken. So if you want more examples of strategic decisions, one of the books that I recommend, of course, is Scaling Up, a very good book which has got a few more examples of how certain companies had taken strategic decisions which gave them the edge or the advantage when compared to the competition and helped them to grow. I hope, Mr. Javastin, I was able to answer your question. Okay, so now it's open. So any of you would like to contribute anything, or if you would like to ask anything, you can do that right now. Any questions?
ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜி பண்றது தான் சார் கஷ்டம்.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
ஸோ நம்ம
absolutely,
பண்றதை
actually,
ஃபாலோ பண்றது இன்னும் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம் ஆக்சுவலாக. நம்ம ஒரு இது
absolutely
பிளான் பண்ணுவோம், பட் ஸ்மால் அண்ட் மீடியம்ல அதை நம்மளால ஃபாலோ பண்ணவே முடியாது. ஒரு மாசம் ஃபாலோ
correct.
பண்ணுவோம், அடுத்த மாசமே அது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா மாறிடும். அதுக்கு அடுத்த மாசம் அதை தூக்கி போட்டு நம்ம இன்னொரு பிளான்ல, அது எந்த பிளான்ல வருதோ அந்த பிளானுக்கு நம்ம மாறிக்கணும்.
Correct. நீங்க சொல்றது correct. What you're saying is correct only. See, இப்போ நம்ம whatever we are planning, okay, as I said, we may not follow that. Okay, நம்ம
Yes.
plan பண்றதும் I will give you a very simple example. நல்ல ஒரு example that's coming to my mind. See, when GST was first planned in India, I was reading a magazine article few months later, okay, after it was implemented. The one of the chief persons who was involved in the planning of GST and how to implement it, percentages and all that. So the person who was interviewing him asked like, how did you plan it and how did you plan the execution and how did you take care of all the risks that were there and course corrections and all. So the answer that he gave is, see, we had certain ideas or we had certain strategies and plans and how to implement and all that. But most of it, we had no clue how the market is going to react or what is going to be the real outcome of the whole thing. Okay, so he what he told is we kept it an open-ended activity. So implement it, observe it, and be prepared to adapt along the way. So if you notice, even today also GST is being course corrected. Percentages are being changed, they are being adjusted based on the feedback, based on what they're observing. It's being so that is exactly how our strategic planning also should happen. So when we start, we go on a retreat for a day or two, okay, or we sit down for a few hours and we just plan. Okay, see, if I can do this, okay, I will make my profitability will be 20 percentage or 10 percentage or whatever, and this is the structure that I will follow. So I will focus on first 3 months I will do this, then the next 3 6 months I will do this, and I will build a whole organization like this. I will do like this. So I'll create a plan. Our You can even print it out. I have seen organizations who even print out their in a pictorial manner, like a mind map or a pictorial manner, as their strategic plan, and they keep it in their office. So you can have that accessible readily, and you will notice that within few days there is deviation. Like there's a certain things that we planned did not work. That is why you should have a weekly strategic appointment where you modify the plan, print it again and keep it. Again, after 1 week, you may see a difference. Okay, but what happens is if we do not even have a plan, few months down the line, things may not even go profitable, things may go with it southward, and we may not even know why. And we may not even know what we should tweak. என்ன சேஞ்ச் பண்ணோம் இதுல என்ன சேஞ்ச் பண்ண ஒர்க் ஆகும் அதுவும் நம்ம கையில இருந்து போயிடும் then it will take a very and it can go so negative and we may realize it after a very long time. So that is why it's very very crucial to have a plan and then keep reviewing it regularly. Have a dashboard, for example, metrics to keep looking at it regularly. Every team review bring out what is the strategy and where are we right now? How are the numbers moving? So that should be one core aspect. So usually what happens with small and medium businesses is we usually focus on, is the customer happy? Is the money coming? Are we making profit? So we miss out on the strategy as a whole.
System.
Okay, so that is where we need to be a little careful. So Mr. Justin is asking one more question. Is it just a new idea alone? Okay, definitely it is an idea, but it also includes a plan of how you will execute it, a planning spread across over a period of time. So that's strategic planning. Idea is definitely the first point, sure. Yeah. So any other questions or we can conclude right now because we are running short of
Yes, sir.
time. Yeah, thank you very much. So
Thank you.
please invite your friends for this. When you see the invite, please invite your friends. And if you feel inspired, you would like to share something with us, please let me know. Like we have VJ. ma'am who is a trainer. So she will be taking one of the sessions in the future. So we are talking about it. So if any of you are interested, you would like to take on some topic, anything, it could be anything. For example, Mr. James can take a topic on what is that? He's into media and all that. So he can probably help us in understanding certain things in that. And we have other support systems also. These are the various books that I would strongly recommend whoever would like to start and scale up their business. So that's it. So thank you very much for joining. Please do share your questions in the group also. And thank you once again. Good night and have a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.